Hey guys, welcome back to the Hess Project. I'm John Ordalaza, and I'm going to be talking about Episode 6 of Star Wars The Bad Batch. I'm going to try to keep these episode-by-episode reviews short and sweet because there's not a whole lot to have with all these episodes every week. It feels very episodic, more so than Mandalorian felt. That's not to say the show is bad by any means. I still have fun with some parts of the show. In this episode, we have that same guild member, or at least I thought it was a guild member. It just has strong connections to the guild, and they give the Bad Batch another mission to retrieve this tactical droid head that has all this valuable information on it. It's a tactical droid that goes back all the way to the droid army. Well, not really all the way back, because that just happened in this timeline, because this is right after Order 66, where they defeated the droid army. And it's another prequel tie-in. I love tie-ins to that trilogy. I know the prequels have been very up and down in the fandom. They've only recently, in the last few years, become beloved in a meme sense. That, you know, the Revenge of the Sith obviously is like the biggest memed thing out there. But it's not just the fact that the prequel trilogy has been around for that long that it's kind of slowly coming around to everyone's minds. It's also due to how the sequel trilogy was received by the fans that made them go back to the prequels and kind of appreciate them a little more. So I love that Dave Filoni gets to utilize that because he obviously loves the prequels. He's one of the ones who loves them more than most people do. He loved them way back in the beginning of the Clone Wars when we were still kind of skeptical about revisiting that world when he introduced Clone Wars. Yes, that part of the episode comes, they get on their ship, fly to a new planet, drop down, and new shenanigans are among them. And yes, again, Omega is amongst the carnage. Look, I can't complain too much because The Mandalorian kind of did the same thing. They brought Baby Yoda, someone who literally has no purpose being in the forefront of all these fights and all these gunfights. He's there. He's there in freaking Mando's pouch. And he's just there chilling on the floor right next to his feet. He's in the midst of all these fights going on. And we didn't complain then. I guess it was probably because he couldn't talk and he's cute as hell, whereas Omega kind of comes across as a little annoying, and she's got her own dialogue and she can kind of feel forced in your face at times. But as we saw in the beginning of the episode, Tech is teaching Omega how to defend herself by using a bow, and that's smart. If you're gonna bring her into all these battles, you might as well teach her a thing or two about shooting a gun or a bow, which, cool fun fact by the way, that bow was used by Darth Maul's people, I believe. I don't remember their name at the moment. The Night Sisters are the female tribe of that people. That's all I know. I knew that purple energy looked familiar on that bow, so I looked it up and I was like, boom! Oh, it's the people from Jedi Fallen Order I saw. That's where I know them from. I think I saw them in one episode of Clone Wars. Again, guys, I'm not that far. I'm not really watching Clone Wars at this moment, but I will soon. Maybe. I don't want to be that guy that just skips all the way to season 7 of Clone Wars to watch the last 4 episodes because I've heard that those are the best episodes or some of the best Star Wars things out there. I don't want to be the guy. I want to earn it. I want to watch it all the way through. I want to get to know more about what happened in the Clone Wars. I just don't have the drive to watch Clone Wars right now, and I'm already watching too many shows as is. Not to mention Loki starts next week and I will be doing reviews on it, so stick around, guys. Speaking of not being caught up with Clone Wars, there was 2 women that showed up in this episode. I have no idea who they were, so I had to look it up. One of them looked a little familiar, and it turns out they were Ahsoka's friends in the last few seasons of Clone Wars, I believe. I didn't even care enough to figure out what their names were. I just found a picture of them standing next to Ahsoka, and I was like, oh, they're from Clone Wars that I haven't seen. All right. As lost as I felt in this episode when they showed up, I didn't feel like I needed to know who they were because they kind of popped in and out. Both of them were after the tactical droid's head as well. I don't really know why. It's not too long after that when the droid army is resurrected and it starts attacking the women and the Bad Batch. Then I believe it's Tech or Echo that comes up with the plan to manipulate the shotgun droids. At least that's what I call them. I don't remember if that's what they're actually called, but you know what I'm talking about. The ones that have like no head, but they're all shoulders and they have the arm cannon. They use those against the normal skinny looking droids, and then we see droids versus droids almost for the first time. At least I don't recall we ever saw the droid army against itself. That was kind of cool. In the midst of all the chaos, the tactical droid's head is destroyed, and in that moment I kind of felt like the mission was pointless, but in the end it's revealed that Tech took the information from the droid's head, put it in this memory stick rod, gave it to the women so they could use first, and then at the end of the episode you see them talking to this hologram. They don't reveal who it is, they don't say a name or anything, they just said, I thought you'd be interested in this or something, and then it just cuts, the credits roll, and I'm like, Who are you talking to? Are you talking to Ahsoka? We definitely gonna get some Ahsoka in here, right? I mean, come on. She shows up in Rebels, which I believe takes place after this. Haven't seen Rebels. She shows up in Mandalorian, that takes place after the original trilogy, so Ahsoka's lingering somewhere, and these are her best friends, supposedly, so you gotta be talking to her, right? Again, I don't know what's on this tactical droid's memory, so who knows? Maybe it's one of those ugly dudes still kicking around from the Trade Federation trying to reboot the droid army. Alright, sir, we have it. We have the files from the tactical droid's head.
Thank you, miss. I can't wait to reactivate the droid diggers.
Nonetheless, this episode wasn't great or anything. It was still really cool. I like the connective tissue that they have with the Clone Wars and the prequel stuff. That's all really cool, and it's a pleasure to have that stuff in modern day Star Wars. I'm pleasantly surprised to see that the animation is still very consistent. It hasn't dropped in quality, so that's a plus. That's really what's going to keep me invested in the rest of the season. But that is it for my review of episode 6 for Star Wars The Bad Batch. Let me know down below, have you gotten a chance to check out this episode or the show in general? I recommend it. If you're a fan of Star Wars and especially the Clone Wars, you might like this show. It's got that same feel and vibe of the Clone Wars, just a little bit more cinematic because it's more refined. It's kind of like what season 7 has to offer. I did see the trailers and a little bit of clips from season 7, so I know what it looks like, and it's basically that, but for the whole thing. At least for right now. Who knows, it might drop down in quality in episode 7. It might look like absolute garbage. It might look like Star Wars Resistance. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, guys, because I'm going to be reviewing The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Or the Conjuring 3. I don't like that name. It's so terrible. It's terrible. I'm gonna have that review up right after the Bad Batch review, so stick around the channel, guys, because there's a bunch of content coming to the channel, and there's always more to come.